Very good morning to all of you. Dear students, today I Sujata here for 9th standard. Going to teach short story of English 2. Story name is An Angel in Disguise. It is written by T.S. author, who was a popular in 19th century American writer, and his stories was with the compassion, sensitivity, articulate and sweet values of the ideas that were associated with the respectable and middle class life in America. So this story is basically related by with the three children who are going to live in different homes because of her mother. She died. So let's start with this story. An angel in disguise. That means there is an angel who is going to suffer. Idleness, vice and intemperance had done in their miserable work, and dead mother lay cold and still amid her wretched children. That I have shown you different meaning in this book. That laziness, not good corrected and not bearable, is continually their work. A mother who has already drunken fit and died in the presence of her frightened little ones. Frightened means who was not feeling good while they see their mother fallen down in the middle of the door in the drunken condition. That touches the spring of the humanity this woman had, despite scorn of and angrily denounced by nearly every man. Here, that woman is not acceptable from every village people, that man, woman and even child. But now, after hearing the death of that lady, everybody is showing their efforts to make their children okay, and everybody is showing their pity on them. Neighbors who don't like that lady and their children, they try to cover all these things. They came to their house and see that body. They gave some clothes to the children and some food for their half-starving children. They are three in number. The biggest one is John, who was the oldest boy of 12 years, and the second one is girl Kate, who was near about 10 to 11 years, and the last one is Maggie, who was the youngest one, and she was hopelessly deceased. She is having a hopelessly deceased 2 years before a fall down from a window and had injured her spine. Now she had not been able to leave on the bed since, except when she lifted by her mother on her arms. What to be done with the children? Because mother has already died. Now what is to be done with the children? This is a question asked from chief. The dead mother will go underground and forever beyond all care of concern of the villagers. But the children must not left to starve. So everybody considering this farmer here. Farmer was there whose name was Jones, who has discussed with his wife to take John, because John was in the age of 12 and he can help them in earning, and he can help as a worker in the villages. Now the girl who has been taken by the lady Mrs. Ills, who already looking out for a bound girl, and she concluded to take her, that girl in their home. Here I could do much better, I know Mrs. Ills. Mrs. Ills spoke that now I can do better for her. Even she is a smaller one, she don't know anything. I have to do everything for her first. Then she is going to help me, but still I am doing this kind of act of sense that this is my duty in this trouble time, so I'll have Kate. But no one is trying to have Maggie in their home. Pitying glances were cast on her when and wasted from the thoughts were troubled on her account. Everybody is trying to see that girl, but no one is going to be accepted. Why? Because mother only changed the cloth of that girl, dressed her very neat and clean attire. But now the sad eyes and patient face of the little one touched many hearts. and even knocked at them for entrance, but none opened to take her in. Who wanted a bedridden child? Nobody wants that a child who is having a disease to bring in their family. So take her to the poorhouse, said Arafman. Arafman was going from there and he said that he should she should send in an orphanage. So what they think? What is to be done with the Maggie? Was asked. Nobody is going to bother with her. The poorhouse is a sad place for a sick and helpless child, answered one. One is saying that this is not a good place for sick child. She is not going to be well. For your child or mine, said the other, lightly speaking. And but for this brat, it will prove a blessed change. She will be kept clean. She is having a healthy food, doctored, which is more than can be said of her past condition. So now he said that it is good if she is going to live in an orphanage. She is having every facility. There is a return, but still not satisfied. The day was falling, the day death was made by the day of burial. A few neighbors were at the miserable hall, but none followed it. Nobody is going to follow with that bury. Why? Because that grave was a beggar's grave. Farmer Jones, after the coffin was taken out, John placed in his wagon and drove away, satisfied that he has done his part. Now Mrs. Ill spoke that cat is hurried in here and see your sister to buy. Now what he has done, nothing has to be done is this time, because he has a tearful children apart secretly, their lips are touched to the sobbing farewell. Hastily, to hurry, everybody is went out from there, some glancing at Maggie and some resolutely refraining from a look. Until had gone, she was alone. Just beyond the threshold, Joe Thompson, the wheelwright. A person came whose name was Joe Thompson. What he was doing? He was a wheelwright, paused and sent blacksmith's wife, who was hastening off with the rest. It's a cruel thing to leave her so. Then Mrs. Smith replied, "Take her to the poorhouse. Still have to go there," she answered, and speaking away and leaving Joe behind. For a little while, Ben stood with a puzzled air. Then he turned back and went into the hall again. Maggie, with painful effort and raising itself upright position because she is trying to see everything with his eyes and having tears in his eyes. A vague terror had come her thin, white face. "Oh, Mr. Thompson," to Joe Thompson, she cried out, catching her suspended breath, "and don't leave me alone." Now, in this situation, when Maggie said that "don't leave me alone," Joe Thompson stopped there. Though rough exterior, Joe Thompson, the wheelwright, had a heart, and which was a very soft. He liked the children and pleased to have come with this shop, where sleds and wagons were made and mended for the village lads without a draft on their hard expenses. He was the person who helped the children while maintaining their toys, and sometimes he didn't take any kind of money from them because he liked the children's. "No, dear," he answered. "No, dear," he answered in a kind voice, going to the bed and stooping down over the child. He has covered that child very well, and after wrapping that Maggie, he picked her in his arm and put it nearby the shoulder. Now, Joe Thompson's wife, who happened to be childless, was not a woman of sentiment, nor much given to the self-denial for good others good, and Joe had well-grounded doubts touching the manner of greeting he should receive on his arrival. Joe Thompson's wife was not good in their temper, and now Joe Thompson was very already known that his wife is not going to accept any of the thing, and how she is going to greet. She already is having doubt in his mind. Mrs. Thompson, who was approaching from the window and ruffling feathers, made him a few paces on the door. and she noticed that her husband came and he's holding someone in his arms, and who was near his to breast, and spear tenders went out from her and penetrated his feeling. Mr. Jones think that like is her on his like child, and who was giving and sharing the love with others, who was having a good feeling with the Maggie like her own daughter. What you have there? Sharply questioned Mrs. Thompson. Mrs. Thompson, what you having there? Joe felt that started shrink against. After this question, when Mrs. Thompson asked this question to Mr. Thompson, that Maggie felt a shrink at that time, that might she is not going to accept her. He didn't reply, accept a look. He just gave, Mr. Thompson just give a look, a rough look with their face. Then he moved to the room. After the stepping back, he shut the door and stood face to face with his vinegar temper, with that is a higher temper of wife with the passageway outside. You haven't brought to him, sick brat, anger and astonishment were tones of Mrs. Joe Thompson was in flame. I think women's heart are something hard. This replied by Mr. Joe. He said that women's hearts are very hard. Then the Thompsons got out of his wife's way and kept rigidly, silently, and non-combative. When she fired up any of the subject, he just tried to agree with her. But now this is an unchallengeable answer. Women's heart are not half so hard, man is. Now she is accepting that might be wrong somewhere. That time Mr. Thompson got that reply from Mrs. Thompson that no, women's heart are half hard as the man is double. So this is all about first part of the video. We'll continue in the next part of the video. Thank you.